Are you ready to have some happy hamstrings? Before we get started, we'll need a few things. One is a massage ball. If you don't have one, you can use a tennis ball, maybe a lacrosse ball if you have it. We'll also need a chair. I have a bolster here, which is a great yoga prop, but if you don't have one, you can use pillows. And then we also have a yoga strap, so that's going to come in really handy. Before we get started, I want to do a quick assessment of where you are currently. So we're going to do a forward fold. Soften your knees. We don't really want to stress the hamstrings out here. We just want to kind of get a gauge of where we are. So take a deep inhale, lift the heart, and as you exhale, chin towards the chest, move forward in a flat back, and slide the hands down the legs. Take a couple deep breaths here. Now bend your knees as much as you need to feel kind of tension release out the low back. So not only are we going to lengthen and stretch the backs of the legs, but we also want to kind of undo and unravel tension and holding in the muscles that surround the hamstrings, like the hips and the low back. So here, focus on relaxing the low back, bending your knees as much as you need to let that tension just roll away. And then breathe deep into the low back, mid back, any place you feel tension, and feel free to move around here. Notice how the backs of those legs feel, how that low back feels. Is one side a little more kind of stressed out than the other? Can you use your exhale to relax a little deeper? Maybe nod the head yes and no. Okay, let's come up on an inhale. And just check in. How does that feel? And remember what I said about how we want to kind of undo some tension in accessory body parts. Well, one of those happens to actually be the feet, which you wouldn't think because it's far away from your hamstrings. But when we can undo some of the tension in the feet, you'll see you might reduce some of that tension in the hamstrings. I'm going to grab my chair just for balance if you need it, or if you have a wall, that's fine. So I'm going to take this massage ball and put it under my foot. And this is one of the greatest things. I do this honestly every morning. So if you wear heels a lot, or you're a runner, this is gonna feel great. You just kind of want to wiggle inside to side. There's no wrong way to do this unless you feel pain. Please, if you do feel pain, then just stop. But you want to breathe. It probably will be a little uncomfortable, and just know that how to discern between kind of pain and discomfort. Areas of tenderness, see if you can work and breathe through that. But if it's sharp and shooting, you want to stop. Just roll out, maybe like you're squashing a bug, you go side to side. So what we're doing is kind of undoing what we call the fascia that's gotten kind of clenched and tightened, that's gripping on the muscles. So it's not always just about flexibility, but it's about mobility. So we want to work on mobility as well as flexibility. Ooh, see, I got a knot right in there. Just like in the shoulder, you can get one right in the feet. So I'm going to stop here, but please, I encourage you, if you want to do it for a little bit longer, up to about 2 minutes, as long as you want, as long as it feels good. But we're going to check in right now with that forward fold. So I'm going to inhale and see if you can't release a little bit more, if there's a little less tension. Honestly, I think I gained an inch. What do you think? Can you tell? Good. And see how those hamstrings feel now. And then come up. We're going to do a little more stretching in the backs of the legs, but right now we're going to do some rolling out of the hamstrings, okay? So we're going to use this chair now to sit down, and you're going to place that massage ball underneath the hammies. Okay, you're going to want to breathe here. Now, if you don't have a chair handy, you can always sit on a counter, which is, I actually really like sitting on top of a counter for some reason. I'll be waiting for some coffee or whatever, and I'll just hop up there and roll out my hamstrings. So you can move up and down them, you can go side to side, you can get a little bit more in the insertion point, kind of where the top of the hamstring meets the glute. A lot of us tend to have some tearing there, and what'll happen is you'll kind of create like scar tissue in there. So we want to start to kind of maybe break that up. I'm going to go to the other side just for timing purposes, but again, feel free to do this longer. You can do kind of this pinning and stretching. So if you find a spot that's just, oh, good, you just extend the leg out, bend it in. Ooh, breathe. Okay. Wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. And then we're going to do a little stretching here. So enough of that. I'm going to turn around and take one leg on the chair. This is actually a little bit more of an efficient stretch than a forward fold, right? So I want you to try to keep this standing leg parallel and a nice long spine. Okay, soften the knee as much as you need and be gentle here. The last thing we want to do is create more stress by pulling. You want to be able to relax the muscle, so breathe deep. And use some visualization. Again, I know you can't breathe into the hamstrings per se, we breathe into our lungs, but just imagine sending energy and prana down there. That's just another word for energy. Or life force. And we want to hold the stretch for at least about a minute. And breathe. If you feel you can soften into it with every exhale, great. Otherwise, just stay there to where it's comfortable. You can bring your hands here. If you want, you can just bring them here. Right, so we're looking to elongate from the tail of the spine here. Keeping the belly slightly in, and I'll switch legs. Whew, how's that feel? Feels good. We'll switch, flex that foot, parallel stance, and reach forward. The one thing we want to try to avoid is this slumping over. Think of lengthening the mid and the upper back. Press down into the chair with your heel. Try to relax the hips and the glutes. Remember, we don't want to create more tension. Great, and come up. All right. Say thank you to your chair. We're going to put that away. And we're going to take this bolster. Now, if you don't need a bolster, you don't have to use it, but I like to be a little bit on my heels because right now we're going to work on relaxing those hips. So you'll be a little propped up here. Take a deep inhale. And try to keep your spine tall as you lower your seat down into a squat. Now again, if you can keep your heels flat down, good on you, that's great. Most people won't be able to do that. I know I can unless my feet are really wide. But here I just want you to be comfortable enough to release the low back. I also like to do this posture before bedtime. It helps me relax. So just keep sinking down, allow the hips and the low back to release. And again, if this gets to be kind of almost too high, you can start to move it back or get a lower pillow. Great. And then I'm going to be done with that. That's really all we want that for. You're going to come on your bum. And then I'm going to want this, good catch, right? To roll out my hips a little bit. Ooh. Now if you have a foam roller and you want to sit on that, you can do that and kind of rock side to side, but this is primo spot that creates a lot of tension around the low back and will pull on the hamstrings. So we're going to kind of swipe side to side, try to release that tension in the hips. If you sit all day, so good, so good. By the way, you can do that massage for the backs of the hamstrings at your desk. Just a hint. It's the best kind of multitasking there is. I'm going to swap to the other side. Again, there is no really wrong way to do this. Woo-hoo. You just want to be aware of how it feels as you're going through it. Okay, I could sit here all day, but we gotta move on. So take your time and breathe, and we're gonna do a forward fold. If you'd like to put that bolster back under your knees, you can. Or you can just see how the forward fold feels now. So now our hips are fixed, right, in this forward fold position. But I can feel the tension out of my low back, correspondingly lets go in the backs of my legs. Maybe I begin to straighten my legs a little bit. So a lot of us think that we are inflexible in the backs of our legs when that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just a tight low back and hips. Remember, everything works together. We are not an island. No body part is an island. And let's come up. We'll do a quick hip stretch before we do one more hammy stretch. So some of you might want this leg extended a little bit more, but you're gonna cross, right? And you're gonna start to scoot your seat up as much as you can, getting that thigh to the chest, right? Maybe you start to inch a little bit more. You sit up tall, but keep your sits bone grounded. And maybe rock side to side, play with it, and then switch. Again, I really would encourage you, 10 minutes sometimes is not enough for some of these. I would encourage you to take a little bit more time, explore kind of the cracks and crevices of your body, and breathe into them. Get that chest nice and tall. Again, you can be back here, that's fine. Or even here, okay? So we're all coming here for different reasons and with different issues, different areas of tension. Okay, we'll release and finally roll down on our back for this last quick hamstring stretch where you'll use your strap. Very simply place it around the ball of the foot or just below it. And try as best you can to get the supporting leg flat on the mat and the heel pressing away so you create space in this hip flexor. And please don't think of pulling kind of towards your face. Think of resisting against the strap. So as if you're pressing the ball of the foot, the arch of the foot into the strap, and then creating resistance the opposite way. Breathing into the back of the leg. And then we'll release, bend that knee, stretch it out, see how that feels. Shake it in and out a little bit, and switch it up. Press that opposite foot like you're pressing into a wall. So we don't want to compromise one body part just to get to the other one. We want to make sure we're creating balance. All that's going to do is what we call compensation. So just in order to stretch to this hamstring, maybe we'll do something weird with that leg and we're not correcting anything, right? So be okay with just being where you are. There is no end kind of finish line in yoga. It's a constant evolution, a constant process of exploring. Okay, let's take it out. Bend those knees. Take a deep breath. Let it out the mouth. Inhale. Slowly roll up. Thanks for joining me. I know my hamstrings are happy. I hope yours are too.